All right, welcome back for Proverbs 28. I hope you'll comment your favorite verse below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We only have 3 days left. We made it, guys. We made it. All right, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get started with Proverbs 28. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. Because the transgression of a land many are its princes, but by a man of understanding and knowledge right will be prolonged. A poor man who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain which leaves no food. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all. Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than one perverse in his ways, though he be rich. Whoever keeps the law is a discerning son, but a companion of gluttons shames his father. One who increases his possession by usury and extortion gathers it for him who will pity the poor. One who turns away his ear from the hearing of the law, even his prayer is an abomination. Whoever causes the upright to go astray in an evil way, he himself will fall into his own pit, but the blameless will inherit good. The rich man is wise in his own eyes, but the poor who has understanding searches him out. When the righteous rejoice, there is great glory, but when the wicked arise, men hide themselves. He who covers his sin will not prosper, but whoever confesses them and forsakes them will have mercy. Happy is the man who is always reverent, but he who hardens his heart will fall into calamity. Like a roaring lion and a charging bear is a wicked ruler over poor people. A ruler who lacks understanding is a great oppressor, but he who hates covetousness will prolong his days. A man burdened with bloodshed will flee into a pit. Let no one help him. Whoever walks blamelessly will be saved, but he who is perverse in his ways will suddenly fall. He who tills his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows frivolity will have poverty enough. A faithful man will abound with blessings, but he who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. To show partiality is not good, because for a piece of bread a man will transgress. A man with an evil eye hastens after riches, and does not consider that poverty will come upon him. He who rebukes a man will find more favor afterward than he who flatters with the tongue. Whoever robs his father or his mother and says, "It is no transgression," is the same companion to a destroyer. He who is of a proud heart stirs up strife, but he who trusts in the Lord will be prospered. He who trusts in his own heart is a fool, but whoever walks wisely will be delivered. He who gives to the poor will not lack, but he who hides his eyes will have many curses. When the wicked arise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. Proverbs 28. Don't forget to comment your favorite verse below and like this video if you haven't already. Wow, this another great one here. Beginning in verse 1, the juxtaposition of these two is really interesting. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. Not just saying the wicked flee, but the wicked flee when no one pursues. That's how weak and wimpy they are. But we want to be righteous so that we can be as bold as a lion and not faint in the day of adversity, not retreat, but stand and march toward the enemy. In verse 2, just really quickly, if a land isn't doing so well, if a country is not doing so well, it means they're going to be constantly going through leaders. It says, because of the transgression of a land, many are its princes, but by the man of understanding and knowledge, right will be prolonged. So if you see a country that's just constantly going through leaders, it's probably because of the transgression of a land, according to this. Verse 5 is a great one. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all. And then I love verse 6 here. Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than one who is perverse in his ways, though he be rich. You know, it's back to that, a good name is to be chosen above riches. It's so much better to have integrity than to be rich through bad means. It's all about the character. You can be rich or poor, but it's the character that matters. Has nothing to do with the wealth. And then verse 8, this is a great one. He who increases his possessions by usury and extortions, gather it for them who will pity the poor. It'll be taken from him and given to someone who actually shows mercy and love for the poor. Verse 11 is interesting. Here's another one of those juxtapositions between the rich and the poor. The rich man is wise in his own eyes, but the poor who has understanding searches him out. So once again, we learned in one of the previous chapters about those who are wise in his own eyes and the fool and how awful those things are. But the poor who has understanding searches him out. I like verse 14. Happy is the man who's always reverent, but he who hardens his heart will fall into calamity. I hope I'm reverent because I'm always happy and cheerful. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. Reverence is really, it's the opposite of folly. It's having a deep love and fear of the Lord. It's not being follyful. It's not, and it doesn't mean that people, I love this verse. It's never really hit me before. So many people think, oh, if you're reverent, you're boring. You're a monk who's taken a vow of silence, who marches through the dingy halls of a monastery, just chanting all day, every day, and with never a smile breaks his lips. But no, it literally says, happy is the man who's always reverent. Reverence is having that deep awe, keeping yourself, hang on. Wow, this is fascinating. I just did a quick, this verse hit me so hard that I just did a quick strong search on this. I normally never go this deep. I just wanted to sort of feel like a quick overview of the proverb rather than going deep in depth in these things. But this is really fascinating. So the Hebrew word here is pachad, and what that means, according to Strong's, to dread, be in dread, or in awe. So some NASB translations are afraid, come in dread, come trembling, fears, shake. So this word, which is translated in the New King James as reverent, is translated in the Old King James is to fear. Be afraid, stand in awe, be in fear of. The NIV says, blessed is the one who always trembles before God, but whoever hardens his heart falls into trouble. NASB says, how blessed is the person who fears always. Amplified says, blessed and favored by God is the man who fears sin and its consequences at all times. ESV says, blessed is the man who trembles. Wow, there we go. Welcome back. Welcome back to me. All right, so verse 14, that's really interesting. I've never thought of it that way. Happy is the man who is always reverent. I was just told by someone recently that they appreciated my reverence. And so that's really interesting to see that right here. Happy is the man who is always reverent, but he who hardens his heart will fall into calamity. I keep harping on through these chapters how important it is to have the fear of the Lord and the awe of the Lord and the trembling. And that's really what this verse means, to be reverent toward the Lord, not to take these things lightly, not to look upon God as your pal or your cosmic genie, but to realize that He is our master and our savior, and we need to respect him and be reverent for that. All right, moving on. Enough time on that one. 20, a faithful man will abound with blessings, but those who hasten to be rich will not go unpunished. It's interesting. You're faithful, you get blessings. Faithful with little, he who is faithful with little will be given to be faithful with much. But he who hastens to be rich, we don't want to hasten to be rich. We don't want to fall for those get-rich-quick schemes. Oh, verse 23. I remember I mentioned a couple days ago about the flattering tongue. I think there was a verse on that. And there's also the verse that says the flattering tongue works ruin. And in this verse, 23, it says, he who rebukes a man will find more favor afterward than he who flatters with the tongue. So that's so interesting. If you rebuke someone, then they're going to appreciate that. If it's a truly loving, solid rebuke, they're going to appreciate that. Rather than the one who, oh, you're so great, you're so awesome, blah, 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 because eventually you're going to see through that. Verse 27, he who gives to the poor will not lack, but he who hides his eyes will have many curses. So important to be generous. Always important. God will take care of us. We just need to give and give and give. It's up to him to bless us as he sees fit, or to make sure our basic needs are taken care of. God will take care of our basic needs, and he does say that. And we just want to be a conduit and give all we can to the poor. And verse 28, pretty common sense. When the wicked arise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. So, wow, I really like Proverbs 28. I actually got some really interesting things out of this. I hope you'll comment your favorite verse below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We only have 3 days left. We made it, guys. We made it. All right, subscribe and see you tomorrow.